Hello, Professor.
Welcome to our video presentation. Our topic is PISA versus CEE College Entrance Examination, and our group members are
Hongding,
任芝麻、
初雨时、
虚恩无、欢王。
The goal of our presentation is to use implications from PISA to guide CE reform and instruction activities in China. Our agenda includes introduction, comparison, and conclusion. Let's move to the introduction. Launched in 1997 by the OECD, the Program for International Student Assessment is an international study which aims to evaluate education systems worldwide by testing the skills and knowledge of 15-year-old students. There are student representatives from more than 70 countries and economies who have participated in the assessment. Since the year 2000, every 3 years, a randomly selected group of 15-year-old students take the test in the key subjects, reading, mathematics, and science, with focus given to one subject in each year of assessment. In 2000, the focus of the assessment was reading. In 2003, was mathematics and problem solving. In 2006 was science, and in 2009, reading again. The students and their school principals before the test were filling the background questionnaires to provide information on the students' schools around. Some countries and economies also choose to have parents fill in the questionnaire. I will show you some examples of these questionnaires. This is a student questionnaire. It is about the language the students spoke at home. This is a school questionnaire. It is about the school community. And this is a parent questionnaire. This is about the reason why the parents choose the school. Next, we will begin to do the comparison. PISA reading in tests is divided into different units, which contains text and corresponding questions. This is the same as CE. In PISA reading, the text contains continuous text and non-continuous text. The continuous text is made of words and sentences which organize paragraphs or bigger sections, chapters, and books. Continuous text includes like narrative, the argument writing, operation guide, tips, documents, and notes. The non-continuous text is different from continuous text in different organizations, which needs different reading skills. It mainly leads students to further thinking through charts, graphs, tables, diagrams, maps, forms, and so on. According to data, non-continuous text in PISA is from 34% to 37%, while CE rarely uses non-continuous text. This may be the reason of different focus. PISA develops tests which are not directly linked to the school curriculum. What PISA measures is the ability related to daily life tasks, which depends on the broad understanding of key concepts, rather than be limited in just understanding of subject-specific knowledge. More than 40% of questions in PISA require students to organize their own answers, which allows students to have different unique answers and fully explain their opinions, so that it always includes a proportion of non-continuous tests. Let's take a look at one question in PISA. This is a library map, an example of a kind of everyday non-continuous text. This includes the information that refers to properties of objects in space and their relationship to one another. One question in this unit is like this: where are new books located? And explain why this location might have been chosen for new books. Choosing the right answer is not enough, as you can see. It also needs you to give explanations and your own opinions regards to the setting of library. This question is very related to daily life, and you should learn how to read maps, how to find out books in the library, which we may encounter often in personal public settings. Comparatively, Chinese entrance examination just focuses more on the literary interpretation. This is an example of CEE. So it requires you to just choose the right words into the blank, what the function of paragraph 1, something like that. So you can see this always comes from the continuous tests.
Credit scale and scoring. In PISA, teachers only grade students' answers with scoring code, not the actual scores. The aim is to avoid one-sided score. Let's take the open structured question in PISA reading test as examples. There are 4 codes from various credit scales. Code number 2 for full credit, code number 1 for partial credit, and code 0 for the no credit or unacceptable answers. Code number 9 for missing answer. Based on these codes, scoring specialists will evaluate students' all-around performance and give a comprehensive score finally. While in CEE, teachers will directly set up score points as a benchmark and combine with sample answers to grade students' answers with the actual score. Here, an example from the rubric for PISA 2009 reading test are explained clearly with specific examples. And students can get full or partial or no credit in PISA rating test. There's no right answer. In other words, full credit doesn't need to include absolutely right or perfect answer, as long as students can express their reasonable understanding of the content. But in CEE, there are only black or white rules, that is, correct or incorrect answers. Students have to cover all the score points to get full credit. Only a few questions can be answered from a particular aspect to get full credit. Code versus score. In PISA, students can get partial credit, may receive the same score, but in CEE, students get various score based on personal answers. And also, in PISA, you can see the specific purpose and concrete ability for evaluation will be listed before each question as a reference for teachers. But in CEE, only has general goals for the test, no explicit description about the purpose for each question. Also, students' reading test scores will be transformed into 7 levels to indicate students' reading literacy performance. Educators are able to see the summarized description of the 7 proficiency levels. These data can help teachers better understand students' strengths and weaknesses in reading, which will be beneficial to guide future curriculum instruction as well. In addition, This data can be used to compare performance across subgroups of students from different participating countries in PISA, which may also provide a valuable resource for international education improvement.
Then I will discuss standards are made based on students' reflection. And the exam paper is made by two parts. The first part is the participating member countries or economies, and the second part is from professionals in PISA International Organization. How test scores are determined by two progresses. Firstly, apply conductive testing schools and then design the guidelines according to students' answers. In the conductive tests, every question asks 35 students to answer in order to assess whether the question and text can be understood correctly. Second, the large scales of field trials in every member country or economy and connecting test results to revise the scoring guidelines. There are 5 steps to determine the guidelines. First step is the test-making experts discuss and revise. Secondly, interview students to know the overall situation or understanding. Third, apply conductive tests by using the draft test paper and their revise according to students' answers. Fourth, member countries and PISA professionals evaluate the test paper together. The last step is the field trials in every country. The trials will largely increase the scoring reliability by analyzing the assessor's same scoring results. For college entrance examination, standards of scoring are made by test-making teachers. Since the time for test-making is limited, it may cause some disadvantages like one-person perspective to determine the answer, and students can be forced to use the unique test language in favor of the answers given by the teacher. All these determine the test scored on the CEE are based on certain standard answers and the test language created by the test-making teacher.
Now I will introduce to you about how answers are graded. In PISA's case, points will not be effective even if there is grammar or spelling mistake, unless it affects the comprehension of what was being written. In CE's case, points will be taken off if there are grammar or spelling mistake, or if the answer sheet is not neat and tidy. And in PISA's case, if students did not answer the question according to the format, they can still receive points from their understanding of the question. For example, if students were asked to list out 3 facts in the original text, but a student underlines the correct answers from the original text, the student will still receive points. But in CE's case, if the student did not answer the question according to the format, they will not receive points. And in PISA's case, even if answers are not standardized, students can still receive points if their responses are reasonable or not conflicted. This is beneficial because students' answers are focused on creativity, critical thinking, and individuality. And for CEE's case, it's focused on students answering all the possible answers provided by the testing center. If the answer is right, points will be received. If the answer is not related, they will not be taken off points. The fault of this is student answers are limited and lack of creativity. and how scores are received. In PISA's case, the process of grading answers and providing scores are separated. Student answer will be labeled in order to receive scores. It is beneficial for teacher to remain neutral and unbiased. In CE's case, the process of grading answers and providing scores are done at the same time by the same teacher.
In order to ensure the quality of scoring result to be consistent and equal, both PISA and CEE have several steps on their scoring process. For PISA, the PISA organization provides authentic rubric translations based on the International PISA organization to ensure each country or district is using the same rubric criteria. Then the process is followed by recruiting scoring specialists according to the requirements of PISA organization. After selecting qualified scoring specialists, they will be studying on the scoring directions, international scoring training materials to ensure the specialist's understanding level on the PISA rubric. These three steps happen before the formal scoring process begins. And then scoring specialists are assigned to a specific order to when the formal scoring process begins. Each specialist should follow their order when grading the exam. When the specialist receives students' actual exams, their signatures are required to make sure the authenticity of the scoring process. In order to verify the consistency of the scoring process among countries and districts, random exam samples will be selected and scored by the PISA scoring professionals. And for college entrance examination, the first step for CE scoring is selecting standardized exam samples as scoring teacher's reference. And they will use a sample when they are grading the actual exam. Then several groups of scoring teachers are selected and trained by the CEE scoring professionals. During their training, they will be studying on the CEE scoring rubrics, and they will be tested by grading sample exams and evaluated by CEE scoring professionals to decide if they are qualified and finally employed. On day one, qualified scoring teacher will be assigned to pre-read some exams in a low pace. And then the formal scoring process begins from day two. Since every single scoring teacher has hundreds of exams in average per day, each of them is only responsible for one question type in order to ensure their scoring efficiency and consistency. Due to the different amount of exams, different scoring approaches are applied for PISA and CEE, but consistency and equality are the core principle that scoring processes need to follow.
Conclusion. The first suggestion I provide is to increase more open, constructive questions to promote students' critical thinking and problem-solving ability in reality. As test makers in CE, they need to incorporate more non-continuous text and provide more opportunities for students to express their own ideas. This will be more related to one's daily life, which makes it possible for students to apply their knowledge to real-life situations and be equipped for full participation in society.
And the second one is take rationality rather than perfection as a basic standard for scoring.
And the third one is identify the purpose of tests and deepen assessors' understanding. Actually, this comes from the successful experiences of PISA, because every problem of PISA's reading test explains what the purpose of the problem includes searching information, and it asks and divides tasks into overall comprehension, read, think, or comment on forms or contents of texts. All these can help score from a whole picture and analyze the test results from different problem types.
Connect the assessment result to student backgrounds. CE should look up to PISA because PISA uses students' background as data to evaluate and analyze student test results. For example, first, it's asked about the home reading resources of students. If a student is in a family that has abundant reading resources, this may affect the student's high score in reading. And second, parents' background. If the student parent's job is professor or teacher, the student might receive more resources from their parents. In other words, PISA connects the student backgrounds to the evaluation of their test results, thus making it more reliable and practical.
And PISA also connects the assessment result to school backgrounds. The PISA requires principals to complete questionnaires, which provides individualized school data information that can help illustrate the similarities and differences between groups of schools in order to better establish the context for students' test result.
Thanks for listening to our presentation, and we are looking forward to your comments.